I'm Mark Nemir. Vote no on Prop Q because I love Austin.
Mark Nemir, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you. How long have you lived in Austin?
Moved here when I was 6 months old. I'm actually 64 now. So I moved here in 1961.
Been here for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old days.
Yeah. And what do you do here in Austin?
I own a restaurant on Guadalupe Street called Dirty's.
Okay. And Dirty's is?
It's a burger joint that'll be 100 years old next year.
100 years. Dirty's has seen more of Austin than you or me or probably anybody that sees this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had it 37 years.
You've owned it for 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
How have things changed in 37 years?
The drag, not that much until, of course, in 2004 when they really, the first Uno version, was out there, and they started building a lot more apartment complexes, which absolutely needed to happen to, house students more in this, vicinity versus spread out.
Yeah. So you, as owner of Dirty Martin's over all that time, you've seen a lot. You've seen students, you've seen service workers, you've seen customers, you've seen employees. How has Austin changed for them, for those groups of people?
Well, I would absolutely say affordability for my employees to be able to live anywhere near work. Now, we're so blessed in my location. We have a lot of students that work there, always have, But I've got a lot of core people that, aren't students, my cooks, for instance. And I've got one cook that lives, has a home in Austin, and the rest of them are in the outside part. But it's really hard for a lot of my employees that aren't students that have to commute into Austin. And it is an issue. I have a guy that just came back to work for me. He's been gone for 3 years, and he was in San Antonio. And it was a lot cheaper for him to live in San Antonio than Austin. He moved there 3 years ago and left. He's a great employee. I'm so grateful to have him back. But most kids live with multiple people at a residence. They have for 20 years or so. I mean, they pile in, and then that way they can split everything up. But it's a tough deal. All of these, a lot of new apartments are coming online in West Campus, big time, and I don't know what their rates are. I would imagine I don't know how affordable they are, but Austin in general, I can't afford to live in Austin. I mean, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's saying something coming from someone that you own an Austin iconic restaurant. It's only one restaurant, but still, I think that would be surprising for a lot of people.
It's a unique situation. There's no doubt about it. It really is. And, for a business to be in business, we'll be 100 years next year. It's, kind of wild to think about. I had the opportunity to purchase the property in 2001, and thankfully I did. I could never afford to buy it now.
Yeah,
and I bought it at the right time, and my mortgage payment was basically what I was paying in rent.
Yeah,
and but I mean, it's just because everything else has gone up, up, up. I truly believe I wouldn't be here. There would be another opportunity for a business to be on that piece of property because of the economics of it. And it was always a throw when I bought it in '89. I mean, selling hamburgers at 2808 Guadalupe Street. The rent, my family owned the property, actually. I bought the business. They were my landlords, but the rent was very expensive. I mean, I carried over the lease from the previous owner.
Yeah.
And so it's always been an expensive place to sell hamburgers, but we're very blessed. We've got incredible following of people that have eaten there over the decades, generations of families, and it's just such a blessing.
And so, it sounds like what you're describing is you've been not only a business owner for so long, you've lived here for a long time, you've interacted with a lot of people, employees, customers, and a lot of others, obviously. Had you not bought in 2001, a little bit of luck involved there. with the timing at least.
The timing.
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to purchase it today. Sounds like Austin's gotten less affordable.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I bought it for appraised value.
Yeah.
My grandfather bought that parcel of land in 1936.
Wow.
The original parcel, and then the corner was a gas station until 57. He bought it in 57, which is now the new back dining room. And the property's evolved, or it wouldn't be here. I mean, it's really needed to evolve from the original 9 bar stools, at the counter, of course, back in the day. But oh yeah, to go in and start over. I mean, yeah, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't make the numbers work.
So the city of Austin talks about affordability a lot. The not only the elected officials, but the institution that is the city of Austin talks about affordability a lot and has been talking about it a lot recently. You as a business owner, small business owner, do you see any action from the city council on actually addressing affordability?
I can't see anything they're making how they've made anything more affordable in any way. And, I'm passionate about the Project Connect issues, of course, because of my, property being threatened, with the eminent domain thing. And that's how I really, really focused in on a lot more issues, in relationship to the taxation and whatnot. And the reasoning with that project, when there's, empty buses running around, of course, and then here we go. And, presumably, this proposition is going to help cure homelessness is what this is about. And you just can't, you just can't keep hammering, us, with these issues. And I've never ever seen, I mean, my personal views, I've never seen, anything miraculous come out of anything that, our local government's done personally. But it almost appears that, they create problems and then want you to pay for them to fix the problems. And, that's real evident to me. But it's out of control. It's just out of control. There's no common sense. We all have the same needs, wants, expectations. We all do.
Yeah.
You can name them all on one hand, and and they would be the same things. They're not, far different. Yet, how does the council and the mayor, how do they get so sidetracked with other things that aren't really the most important things?
So they haven't done much for actually making things more affordable. In your experience, I mean, you mentioned Project Connect. That was a 25% increase on property taxes forever.
For what? And for what? Yeah.
And for what? Has anything happened with that?
For me personally, no. I've never had anything in writing saying that they're not going to be taking my piece of property, actually. But
as far as Project Connect, have they done anything with all that money? That they've collected.
They've used a lot of it on attorneys, I know, but I don't. There all of these engineering and planning and things. They've spent lots of money, I'm sure, on the development stuff. They haven't. I don't know that they have purchased any land along the way, or
have they? It's not the same as what they said it was going to be.
Oh no, it's totally different. I mean, it's night and day. I mean, and I got real involved, with this obviously, when all this came about. But it's ridiculous. It's just absolutely insanity, particularly when there's empty buses running up and down. I'll say on and on, because right there on Guadalupe Street, there are empty buses running right up down past my place and have been all these years. And you can see it when the sun shines through them. And yet we have a big enough problem where we need to take on this, massive tax increase and allocate those funds towards that. There's so many other things in our community that are more important than that. The police, the EMS, the fire, the roads, utilities, to be done with the money. But overall, when you just keep on piling on and piling on, the scariest thing in my business is raising my prices. And it's a penny business. I sell hamburgers. And, things have gotten really, but anywhere you go out to eat, I mean, you expect to pay basically X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
Unless you're at a total fast food place, and then they're just cheap, blah, blah, blah. But kind of get what you pay for. But it's always been the scariest thing when you raise prices by 10 cents in my world. That's a little bit of money. It only seems like a little bit of money, but your regular customers, I mean, you add it into that and you add 10 cents onto an iced tea or 10 cents onto some French fries. I mean, it's scary because you don't want to lose business from it. And it's not like it's a windfall of money, a sale that you're going to make. You're keeping up with inflation. And it feels the same things I feel post-COVID. My insurance rates have doubled. My utilities are way up. Every single my dumpsters, is up 40%. Name it. And then on top of that, your trades to plumbing and electrician and everything, multiply it has gone up, and more so in recent years than I've ever remember, of course. But
so are those unique experiences to you, or the business
not
community?
at all. I mean, it's I'm just a hamburger salesman. I've said for the last 37 years. It's not rocket science what I do, but all these things. My operation is very simplistic. And I strive to keep it that way because it just makes things less complicated. And it's just not that complicated. But all of these factors go into the bottom line. Are you profitable? Is it worth staying open here? And can you pay my fabulous employees that it's hard to pay them enough? I mean, it's like, my gosh, I've got 4 guys that have been with me collectively over 100 years, and they're awesome, and they're my brothers, and they're 2 of them are older than me, and I'm scared to death, that we're all going to retire one day, sooner than later. I don't know. They're still loving what they do, but it's hard work.
Yeah.
And so, not to ramble, but my experience is can't be ununique to anyone. I think that, and I've seen firsthand, I mean, when a business person gets into politics, and most business people don't want to be in politics because it's a gruesome business, of what I've learned about it more recently.
Yeah.
But, a business person understands, how do you handle money? That's your job. You got to handle the money.
Yeah.
Your people are the most important thing. But if you don't handle your money, you can't pay your people. You can't pay your bills. And you got to understand all of these things. You don't just go raise people's taxes. It's like me indiscriminately raising the prices of my food.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose customers. The city's losing. People are leaving. People are leaving town. They're moving outside of town, and which is great. There's too many people that live here anyhow. I've never understood, and I guess I do, how politicians, come to Austin, come live here, please, and the governor, please move to Texas. Everyone move to Texas. And boy, they screwed this whole place up, man. I'm telling you, back in the 60s and 70s, it was really, really nice,
So the city of Austin hasn't done much to actually make things more affordable, even though they talk about affordability crisis all the time.
Oh, my goodness. No. I don't see anything they've done to make anything more affordable or anything more convenient or anything easier to get around.
And with the recent, obviously with the recent property tax increase with Project Connect, as you've described, it's less than what they promised, and it's more expensive. And now they're asking for this property tax increase,
and neither will ever go away. There's no relief in sight.
They're forever taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
it's
forever.
Yeah. And just as a, back of the napkin math, if Proposition Q passes, so about a 20% increase in your property taxes, how much more are you going to have to pay per year?
I think I've been told it's around $3,000, and
Per year or per month?
Per year.
Uh-huh.
$250 a month is $3,000 a year.
Yeah.
And doesn't sound like a lot of money. What'll $250 do? Where could that have gone? How many other things are going up by $250 in a month?
Yeah.
That add up to, wow. Is it worth for Mark to take on all this risk, if you will? When you're in business, you're taking risks to make money.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, ching, 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 it has to make sense.
Yeah.
How much can you charge for a hamburger?
Yeah. And I think another part of this that people don't often realize is that utilities are also going up. Fees are also going up.
Oh my goodness. If there can never be a fee, it's such a gauntlet. It's a challenge, and the challenge changes yearly with these fees and rules. And when we've come up with a better way to do this, they say, but I don't buy it, and it's just too simple. And I guess I can say too, though, I bought that business in 1989. I was a younger, obviously I was 37 years younger, and never having worked there, I bought it from a guy that had it for 35 years. And he bought the business actually from my grandfather, who ran it for 14 years before that. And, it's a long story. But I learned things old school that work, and you keep piling on and piling on and piling on. It's like, well, you need to do this because of this. And it's like, well, they did it here for 63 years before I came along.
Yeah.
They were doing it, and it was working. And I don't complain. You comply, but oh my goodness, there's so much more now in 37 years that the local government wants from you in the fee of permits,
yeah,
and fees,
yeah,
licensing, and it's a challenge.
So, as the affordability crisis has worsened, property taxes going up and up and up, making your costs go up, your prices have to go up, but also your employees, who are service industry employees, many of them, or all of them, it makes it harder for them to live in Austin or live nearby and actually make it to the job that you're providing for them.
That's not a new problem. It's getting exasperated, obviously, these days, particularly with these latest, big hunks. I don't know that, these young people that live in apartments or rental properties understand that somebody owns that piece of property and they're paying more property taxes, and your rent's going up. You're going to pay for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they do understand that whatever it is, whatever the amount, well, it's only, my rent's only going to go up, $15 or $20 a month. And maybe that's the number. I don't know what the number might be. But how many times can you, go up on that and just keep going without? And, the other frustration is I see these things happening without accountability. Who's taking care of this money? And I have thought for years and years and years, and we need an audit, and to see about why we can't find money in other places. I mean, that's why you get audited, to see, what's going on.
So as your costs go up, you have to look at where can you save money in other places to maintain your business. Sometimes you have to make a cut here or a cut there, and maybe, hopefully not, but maybe sometimes for your business or someone else's business, maybe it's an employee that has to be cut because he can't afford it anymore. Pushing that person out.
Well, I've been real blessed that hasn't been the case for me, because we run really lean, and we always have, and that's a secret of longevity. And I learned again a lot from my predecessor, and it's a penny business, and you better understand that.
Yeah.
You better understand those ketchup packets. You better understand straws.
Yeah.
You better understand napkins. And I'm not kidding. And I've been preaching this for years and years and years because that's the way I learned it.
Yeah.
And, that's business. And that's the pennies. And that's what I really speak to when I'm talking about, our leadership not having any business sense whatsoever, yet, they just think collecting more money is going to fix problems. And you can really probably find a lot of money that, there's a lot of ketchup packets and straws that are being wasted, I'm sure.
At the city of Austin.
And you could find these with an audit.
Yeah. Well, Mark Nemir, is there anything you wanted to say to those that maybe any final thoughts about Proposition Q, what it means for Austin, what it means for local business owners?
I mean, I can speak, if you got any local business owner in here that's been around for any business in any length of time, and there's still some around, that, real estate and rent and property taxes are a big piece of the pie.
Yeah.
And they get that. And, when you make that piece of the pie, bigger, then, you run out of your profit, your profitability has to be in there too. Cause I gotta pay my rent, I gotta pay my bills. That's how it works. I get paid last, and that's cool. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
But, these are the same, my concerns are the same concerns of the average person, anybody that lives in this town, and whether they just got to realize it. And I think that it's frustrating the amount of people that actually vote and go out and vote. And, we keep on, in my mind, passing, things that are ridiculous. But the apathy, if people would get out and vote, I think that maybe we could, make some changes. But we can't keep raising taxes. We need to lower taxes.